brought me sprinkle cookies.
So what, no fucking TV now? Hey!
Maybe she's from Jersey.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Maybe She's from Jersey. We're your hosts, Jackie Neese.
And Alex Curtis. Our sponsor today is Crave. Crave Nature's Eatery in Lawrenceville. They are basically a healthy, organic-based food business. They are somewhat new, right?
Yeah, less than a year.
Okay, so so support a local business. We love a good healthy spot. I was just saying, I feel like in cities they have like a well-versed aspect of foods like sweet greens, honey grow, all those like fun things. We don't have that here, so I'm really happy this is a thing. And it's kind of like, it reminds me of a healthy Chipotle. If you can afford Chipotle, you can afford this place. You'll be okay.
Chipotle.
They also do have a lot of other options like vegan stuff, gluten-free.
Yeah.
They're just a wide variety of options. So check them out. They were also so sweet to gift us so much food, which we will post on our Instagram.
Yes, it was all incredible. That
Really
was so good.
Really good pastries too, and coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, I just had this smoothie as well, but really, really good.
Yeah.
I love the brand. It's like the logo.
Yeah. We love healthy vibes. Speaking of, our guest.
This is Tyler Bellanova. He is a yoga instructor, a personal trainer, loves mental health. He's an entrepreneur.
What's going on, guys? My name is Tyler Bellanova.
It's a great last name.
So today's podcast episode kind of goes along with our sponsor and everything. I think we're just going to talk all things mental health, physical health, just all the above. It's going to be we're going to deep dive. I literally texted him. I'm like, is there anything that's off the table? And he was like, oh, no, I don't think so. So we are getting deep, people. Okay.
Yeah.
We're all about deep conversations.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're here.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So we know each other through my personal trainer, Jess. Shout out to Jess. And Amplified Fitness. We met through her. She basically contracted Tyler to come and teach yoga at the gym. And guys, if you know me, yoga's not my thing.
The first thing Alex said to me was, yeah, I don't fucking like this shit. And I was like, oh, okay. I love that though, because I like transitioning people, especially me being a yoga teacher. Like I was telling them earlier, like in high school, if you told me that I would be a yoga teacher right now, I'd be like, fuck no, what the hell are you talking about? And I think that's so cool because I'm different than a lot of other yoga teachers. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest thing with yoga is if you take a class and you have a teacher that you don't like or you didn't resonate with, you're probably going to have a bad outlook on yoga overall then. But like it's so much more than that. So if you had a bad teacher, just keep exploring, keep trying different classes.
I can't believe I said that to you.
Yeah, I thought it was funny though.
I can believe you said that.
Okay.
She's like, what's up? I'm Alex. Don't want to be here.
She's like, can we get food after?
Yeah, that's really why I went.
Okay, Tyler, tell us a little bit of how you got into nutrition, mental health, becoming a physical trainer. Like, kind of explain your journey there if you can.
Start from
when you were born.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my whole life, I feel like I've been super energetic and hyper. And like, the only thing that calmed me down was sports. And in school, growing up, middle school, elementary school, I was that kid that just would get in trouble. And it would be like crazy shit. Like my mom would answer the phone and be like, oh, Tyler did this today. She'd be like, what the fuck is this
like
kid?
What?
Point is, I just couldn't focus. I couldn't focus at what the teacher, like I just wouldn't do what they told me to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, why the fuck am I here? Yeah. What got me into fitness was sports for sure. But because of my behavioral issues, I was always obsessed with nutrition and like just learning about why I didn't want to sit there or why I couldn't focus. And that's literally the reason I do what I do is because of those questions I would ask myself. And so, yeah, I was into nutrition because it was common sense to me that what you put in your body is what you're going to get out of it. And so that was just common sense to me growing up, and that led me into sports. And then I played lacrosse in college. And then from there, I decided I actually wanted to study nutrition. So I transferred my school, stopped playing lacrosse, and went full out, studied nutrition. So I started working as a personal trainer, and then the opportunity just came about. I was working like 3 jobs. I was doing construction. I worked for a fence company. I built decks. And then I trained at nighttime. So I did that during the day, trained at night. And then I also on the weekends worked at a physical therapy office, just like helping them like, you know, wrap ice and shit like that. Just being in the atmosphere I enjoyed and wanted to learn more about it. So then I transferred from nutrition to a different school. I went to Mercer County Community College after that. And then I just went to a physical therapy program because I wanted to do that. I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But
you had the vicinity.
I knew what direction I wanted to go in, so I just kept exploring different pathways and, cross things off the list essentially. And then the opportunity came about for me to just open my own business, and I was like, well, this makes perfect sense because nothing else fucking worked.
Yeah.
And it's been great ever since. So it doesn't really feel real, to be honest. Like, for example, I just bought the house. The business hasn't felt real. It's been 2 years now, and it's starting to feel like, okay, this is like what I do. This is what I have to offer the world. So let me start to like actually market it, kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
So now it's starting to feel real, like you said. Like,
tell us about like how your business works. Like, do people reach out to you? Do you teach classes? Is it like I know you freelance a little bit, like with Jess. So how does it work?
Yeah, so it's mostly word of mouth, and I have to thank my mom for getting me started because she owns a real estate company, and like just because of all her connections and stuff, and just growing up under her, like I knew a lot of people, and a lot of people, let alone that wanted to support me. So I got a lot of clients through her originally, and then I worked as a trainer for 2 years at a commercial gym before that. So I was already doing the thing and meeting people, and I actually got some clients from that old job because they wanted to stay with me. And so yeah, pretty much it's all word of mouth. But recently I have been getting some clients through Instagram, which is just makes me feel really good because it shows that like that hard work.
Whatever image you're putting out, they're
receiving.
And like just like my stories, like they'll reply and be like, oh, I want to come train with you from a story. Like let
That's
alone
awesome.
a post.
That's cool. That's a nice feeling.
Yeah, for sure. I love that too. I always talk about that as like I feel like we live in a generation where instant gratification is such a big thing, but it's not really that. It's people say like a 10-year business is an overnight success kind of thing. Like that's something you grind on every single day, and then finally things start to click and you start to get your feedback and you're like, oh, okay, it's working, right. And it's a good feeling when that happens.
It's that exponential curve. Like you're putting in all that hard work, and one day it'll eventually shoot up instead of just what you think it's going to be.
It won't be linear. But that's cool. I mean, you should be proud of yourself. I mean, I just met you today, but like you should be proud of yourself. You're 24 years old. You just got your own place, and like you've decided that these are the things you want to do. You set your mind to it and you made it happen. That's awesome. You know? So
and that's, I think, rare.
And I think most people are successful because they don't care what other people think.
Yeah.
Like you get in your own way more than anyone else.
For sure.
Let's get into that because I had asked him, like, I wanted to talk about like stereotypes and whatnot. Do people affect you? Like, does that get in your way? Do you experience that?
I think social media is the best way to describe what you're asking. And it's like, it's that love-hate relationship. Like, I go through those thoughts of, oh, no one gives a shit what I'm posting, or I'm annoying people, things like that. But at the end of the day, like, if it helps one person, that's all that really matters.
For sure.
So I just have to keep reminding myself that. And I'm just posting like a journal essentially. Like I look back at it for my own memories, and all the captions and the motivational stuff I write to myself. And being honest, like I write those things to myself as constant reminders because I need it, and I just figured why not put it on social media because someone else can benefit too. Like overall it's positive. So if you have something bad to say about it, then that's on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just have to keep constant reminders to not like fall into those thoughts.
Yeah. But that's human. Like I feel like you can be in any place of your life and that's always going to happen. But it's we were talking about before, like strengthening like mental muscles, and like it's a good muscle to have where you consistently remind yourself, like if you have a negative thought and then you back it up with okay, but this is also helping somebody else. Like as long as you're strengthening those muscles, all those thoughts are healthy. And as long as it's not like depleting you and like ruining your,
Exactly. And that's why those select few people that really are thriving, it's probably because they just didn't give a shit what people thought. You know what I mean? And they just did their thing, and it was positive, and it took off.
Got to focus on the love,
That's what life's all about.
Oh, we forgot to say bring our shirts. I don't know if you could tell in the video, but
they tried to get me to put one of those on.
Yeah.
We had like a small tank top. We're like, would this fit you?
So yeah, I did start my own podcast. It's called New Life Podcast, and it's with my good friend Kenny. It's mostly about again, just positivity. It's about love. It's about sharing positivity with the world, because there's so much negative stuff out there. There's so many people to be influenced by. So it's all about overall positivity and self-development, and how to become the best version of yourself, how to live the best version of yourself already right now, right? It's good to want to be the best version of yourself and work towards something, but at the end of the day, you have to accept that you're already are, kind of, and like be happy with it.
So how do you progress in that?
So like I literally have broken it down into like what you need to look at in your life, and it's like your belief systems, your values, right? Everyone has their own values that they have important to them, just like the love languages. So like you need to ask yourself these questions, or at least it's all awareness too. Like you need to understand, So it can go many different roads for that question.
I think you're opening a platform for a select audience that wants to improve something in their life, is looking for, I don't want to use the word like cult following, but is looking for relatable content, community, and is looking for, oh, I'm not alone in this feeling, and how to come out of it, I think, is a very important part of the conversation.
And again, it comes down to those beliefs, and our parents are imposed certain beliefs on us, and we can't blame them for that, but we're at an age where we need to be aware that
self-aware,
we might be living in our parents' beliefs, or whoever raised us,
Isn't that wild?
Or our teachers in school. Like,
you're a product of, it's like nature versus nurture.
So you got to self-reflect and decide what's important to you and your values, and I understand that what you're around, your 5 closest people you've heard, are who you are. Like that goes with everything, what you eat, what you listen to, like what you consume is who you are. So depending on what's important to you, what your values are, you need to surround yourself with that. And I chose, I went through the party phase and all that, and I still can have a great time, don't get me wrong, but I chose to make my 20s about self-growth. Until I'm 30, I'm going to grind until my business is where I want it to be, which it probably never will be. You know what I'm saying? So like 20s is to build your life, like, and learn. It's all about learning. You're allowed to fail to learn. You have to. So
you have to.
You got to start younger than, I would not want to do what I do now starting at 34 years old. You know what I'm saying?
I always say, work like a dog in my 20s, live like a queen in my 30s, and sleep in my 40s. That's the goal.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I just want to sleep now.
This is why I was like attracted to your personality, because like
this is the worst class ever.
It's just, you challenge my like what I do. Like for clients, for example, I
don't mean to be challenging.
No, it's a good thing.
Okay.
I mean, you are who you are, and that's great.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I am a very challenging person, but it's not to be an asshole. I just, like, I don't know
I'm not a mean person. I just say mean things.
Yeah. Guys, that should be on my fucking tombstone.
It should be on your forehead. You're just honest and you're upfront.
Says that, I bet.
I do.
She's not saying something to put anyone down. She's just like, oh, and this.
I think it's also curiosity that you have.
Yeah.
You would love this book. It's called Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. And it's this coach. I think he like mentors a lot of celebrities, but there was one sentence in there and he was saying your brain is an organ. So it's an organ that we use to make every single decision of our lives, every single second of the day. It never shuts off. So why wouldn't we take more care of it? And it's also about like going to the gym. Like you don't wait to get extremely unhealthily overweight to start going to the gym. You go to the gym to take care of your physical health. It's like, I think of going to therapy and improving my knowledge on mental health as like going to the gym for my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just such an important thing to take care of. But I also had a very different upbringing than you, where I was in situations where I was like, I'm either going to fall into a dark hole or I can build myself out of this. And, you know, you kind of have to sink or swim.
Wow.
So
I never heard it put that way, like fall into a hole or build your way out.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how like it feels.
Yeah.
Did your therapist tell you that?
I say that to my therapist
thing.
a lot. Yeah, I fucking love my therapist. But I say that to her a lot. I'll say like I feel sometimes like I'm hanging by a thread. And she's like, "But what will you fall into?" And I'm like, "A dark hole." And she's like,
you'll just fall into more negativity, like
right, exactly.
And when you get in on that thread, like you do it to yourself. At least speaking from personal trauma, I guess I'll call it, I like would make it worse on purpose almost. Like I would push the people closest to me away from me and all that shit. And it's like you are just going down, down, down until what are you going to eventually hit? So, you know, you only hit what rock bottom is when you change, right? It's not when something bad happens to you. It's when you decide to change.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Let's touch on that real quick. Like depression is real as fuck. Like I went through that. And that's what made me do what I do, essentially. Like, I already was on the path, but, like, that curiosity, that kid in middle school that couldn't handle sitting in class, I had that same issues with, like, mental health. Like, I was in the state that I knew I was in, but I couldn't change it. And I was like, if you know you're in it, then why can't you change it? So I was like, what is it? You know, like hormones, chemicals in your fucking brain, routine habits, triggers. Like, so now I have more understanding of it, but that's what motivated me to do all this.
So now that you know those things, do you avoid those triggers? Do you know those habits? Can you avoid them, or do you just have them and you know how to
I think that
power through?
That maturity of awareness is what does it for me. Like it's almost an emotion. Like you're never gonna live the rest of your life and not be sad or angry ever again, right? So like I still have days that are, you know, everyone has ups and downs. Life is a wave. You're always gonna have your ups and downs. So once my down starts going lower, I just kind of feel it, and I'm just awareness.
Yeah,
and I have the maturity because I've already been there. So it's just like. And also like running my business and stuff, like I had that conversation with myself where I was having one of those downs that kind of stayed down, and I was like, listen, like you have a business to run. At the end of the day, I had to like just man the fuck up, and I was like, you got shit to do. Like,
but sometimes that's what holds you accountable.
Of course.
Yeah.
So.
And I forced that upon myself. Like I put clients in at 6 a.m. to force me to get up in the morning, but I would not be wanting to get up at 5. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like what you said earlier when we were all eating. You said something about your purpose in life is to be happy and to...
Useful.
I mean, you say it because that was a cool statement.
Yeah, so like we live, or at least a part of my life recently, I was always like, I want to be happy. I want to live happily like all the time. Like I don't want to be upset. I don't want to like stay down in a low. And at the end of the day, it's good to be happy, and we need to be happy all the time with what we have. But at the end of the day, you need to be useful, right? If you're constantly seeking happiness and pleasure, then you're selfish, essentially, in a way. So like the goal is to be useful to the world. Like everyone's here to serve a purpose, and I think that we're all here to help people. Like I don't know a job out there that doesn't involve providing a service for someone else, or at least it benefits someone else in some type of way. So I saw this quote, and I've been living by it for the past year, and it's the more people you serve, the more successful that you'll be. And it made perfect sense to me because it's like, well, doing what I do, like the more clients I can help on a large scale, then I'll, you know, be more successful. I have more money, whatever it is, whatever way you want to look at success. And we can dive into that too. But, you know, money's not success. Oh, there's another quote for you. Money does not change you. It only amplifies who you already are. So if you're a shitty person, you got a lot of money, you'll be even more shitty.
You just be a shitty person with a lot of money.
But, you know, if you can have grace, if you can find gratitude in every day, and then, you know, you work hard and you develop more money, then you'll probably just keep sharing that with the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, just for people out there too, it's important, like when you're in a bad state, like don't always try to fight it either. Like acknowledge you're there and just kind of let your body do what it needs to do, right? If you need to take a fucking day off, if you can afford it, then do it. But then make sure the next day's better.
Right.
That's all.
Like do something about it.
Yeah.
There was like a quote.
But you have to process that, though, is what I'm trying to say. You have to allow your brain to process it. Don't hide it with fucking alcohol and all that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I think Jim Carrey said something like that, and he was like, if you don't, you know, take yourself out of that dark spot, if you don't step out in the sunlight, if you don't eat well, if you don't surround yourself, you're like doomed. Like you have to do something to help yourself.
Right.
That's where a lot of like ignorance also comes from, is you're like, well, just be happy. Just leave that relationship. Just get out of that situation or leave that job. And it's like, that's that, I think that was like the blatant understanding, like let's say 20 years ago, it was like, well, just don't be in that situation anymore. And now it's like, okay, well, why are you in that situation? Like, why aren't you leaving? Or,
I think also to piggyback off that is, like you said, life is a wave. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. I think the goal is to not make the downs very down. It's to not fall into a dark hole kind of thing. So I think it's more about strengthening a muscle that when you do feel a lull or you do feel, anxiety, depression coming back on, what coping mechanisms have you instilled that will help to either make it last for a lesser amount of time or that you can do that will give yourself comfort? I think those are important things. And like, I have a lot of tools and like, I do a lot of like breathing exercises, things like that I know are there for me when those moments happen. So I don't think it's a matter of, like I'm cured. It's just like, okay, the next time I'm feeling this, these are the steps I'm going to
like
take to,
mechanism.
yes. And that almost like tricks your brain too, because the next time it happens, it's a less and less amount of time as you continuously go through that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Easier said than done.
It's a trigger to get yourself out of that state. It's a habit, something that you can do that will change the state. And we learned about that in the seminar, like being able to change the state you're in quickly, like with, develop a habit. Like you get in a state. I think Tony Robbins, he said he just fucking smacks his chest and then he's like, he just triggered himself to when he's like feeling like tired. He just fucking hits his chest and he's ready to go.
Wow.
Obviously, something might work.
I think you might
different
crack
for
a
other
rib
people
or something.
and again, that's why I recommend everyone needs to find some form of fitness for themselves because that's going to, that's the ultimate habit that you can build confidence and just feel better overall.
I think the gym especially can be an anxiety-ridden place for people.
And that's why I love my gym is because it's private and I help a lot of people just simply build up enough confidence so that they can go to the gym on their own.
Yeah, that's great.
I hated the gym. I still hate it. It's not like I understand why people like it. Like I know why you go to the gym and I know why you go to the gym. I don't feel that way. Having to do things at the gym, I feel like people are watching me, judging me. I just want to hang, and I currently struggle with that because, like, my gym where we know Jess, like, I fell in love with the people there, so I just, like, go to socialize, and the working out's, like, the side aspect of it.
Sure. And you say you hate it, but that's due to an underlying belief that you have. And you already mentioned some, like people are looking at you, whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think I think women in general struggle with like body issues, and I think part of that was the gym, and I hated the gym. The gym was always like a chore. Like, oh, I have to work out so I can eat this later. Or like, I ate this and now I have to go to the gym and be there for 2 hours and do X, Y, and Z. And like, that just can become very toxic. And I think I did that in college, and I hated it. But now I go to the gym because of the people. Yeah. And once I'm there, Jess will be like, you should probably work out. And I'm like, okay.
That's good, though. So, that's great. You have a good environment.
That's what helps. So I think that's the baby steps that I'm like getting towards. And there's certain workouts that I enjoy now. But
that's why, again, I'm intrigued by you because I want to be able to change that almost. Like, I don't want to change you, but like I work with clients that hate working out. So it's like, my job is to kind of change those underlying beliefs and help them find the lifestyle so that they can live longer and healthier. Because if I have a 50-year-old client that has lived with these limiting beliefs for 50 years, how am I supposed to change that? You know what I mean? But I have to, because otherwise they're not going to live to 80 and they're not going to feel good while they live to 80.
Yeah, I don't know how to like help people like that, but for instance, like my little talks about it, she almost refers to the gym as like a promise to herself, and like that's what you're fulfilling, whether it's the gym, whether it's reading a book, whether it's taking a walk, whether it's taking a nap. Like, you made a commitment to yourself, and that's what I'm doing right now, and that's the step that I'm taking. So getting to the gym and actually working out is like a very minor part of it. It's more like I'm doing it because I told myself this is what I was going to do for a full year, and I'm going to commit to it. And even if I show up and I do half the workout, like, I did something. I don't just like watch Grey's Anatomy.
Exactly. And if you do it long enough, you'll never stop. And you only start getting old if you stop moving. That goes for everyone, no matter what age you are.
You think?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. My 96-year-old grandmother, knock on wood, she runs circles around me, and she used to get up every morning, stretch, do a little workout, no matter what it was. I mean, she wasn't like deadlifting, but like she, you know,
it's crazy.
She's very with it.
Yeah.
Keeping promises with yourself. Yeah. I think everyone breaks a lot of promises that they make to themselves all the time, just internally, subconsciously.
Yeah.
And it's like super disrespectful. Yeah. And if you think about it, like, why would you do that to yourself?
It's like,
but I've lived through that so much.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's hard.
I read something somewhere that was talking about confidence. And it was like, you don't get confidence when you have the perfect body, the perfect hair, the perfect face, like, you know, the perfect personality. That's not what confidence is. Confidence comes when you continuously keep promises to yourself, because that means when you tell yourself something, you trust yourself that you're going to show up. And that's confidence. And like, that just really rang true to me, that I was like, if I tell myself I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow, I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow, you know? And like, but it
Even
could be
if you're
something.
calling me trying to convince yourself.
I was literally sitting in the car for 20 minutes the other day, and I was just walking back and forth in front of the gym, and I was like, whenever you hang up the phone, I guess I'll go in. But I was still keeping a promise to myself that I was telling myself I'd do something and showing up, and I'd say I'd do that. And granted, if I was exhausted or not in the, you know, I was in pain or whatever, I'm not going to force myself to go to the gym, but it's more just a continuous practice of, you know, showing up for yourself.
Yeah.
That's a good point too. Like, you're breaking promises to yourself that you just say in your own head.
Yeah.
But if you actually say it out loud or write it down, you're much more likely to follow through.
Right.
So just
absolutely.
For me, like, the hardest thing I do every day is getting out of bed. Like, by far the hardest thing.
Because it's so early, or just like in general?
Just, I don't know. Just waking up is painful, it seems.
Yeah. I get the
but
same thing.
Once I'm up, I like being up early. I really do.
You gotta go to bed at like 9
I can get
PM,
shit done.
right?
Huh?
You gotta go to bed early to get up at 5 a.m.
That's the thing. Like, sometimes I'm working or being with family, and I just go to bed like 11, and then have to get up at like 5, which it sucks. And sleep's very important, don't get me wrong, but obviously certain jobs, certain careers, certain lifestyles, you gotta figure it out, let's just say. But again, getting up is one of the hardest things. So a good trigger that worked for me is literally say out loud 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you'll get up, instead of in your head, oh, you gotta get up now, and you gotta get up now. If I say out loud, get the fuck up, I'll probably get the fuck up. You gotta say it like out loud, probably loud. It works.
What's a quality that you look for in the people, knowing what you know now and how you've kind of mentally evolved? Like, who do you want to surround yourself with? Like,
well, I look for someone that has similar values and beliefs. Well, not beliefs, but values and like morals. Someone with drive, I guess. Like, I was told by someone close to me, a mentor, that I should surround myself. I'm on a fine line, is what I was told, is that I could easily go with this friend group and do this, or I could easily go with this friend group. And this friend group that they were talking about was people older than me, like my group of entrepreneurs, the business mastery ones that I went to the seminars with, like people older than me, more successful than me, business owners with more money than me, for example. Like, I've been surrounding myself more with those people, and more like with my parents and like with my parents' friends. And like, I've just naturally been doing that more recently, because it's like what I need. It's what I need to be around, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
If that answers your question.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
But I don't like put like people I meet through like a.
But you know, like, there's certain people that you're like,
Checking
we're
boxes.
not gonna vibe.
Huh?
I'm sure you've met people you're like, you're not for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's something I've enjoyed, is actually like, I feel like I'm good at reading people's vibes, and yoga has helped me with that tremendously. Like, I was taught about energy and how to hold,
aura?
Yeah, and how to hold people's energy. And, you know, when you meet someone, you know within the first 90 seconds if you like them or not, or if they're gonna be a good person in your life or not.
And my first impression, you were like, we're gonna be friends. Like, that didn't make sense.
Yeah, actually, it was.
Oh,
was
that's
like,
so nice.
This shit sucks. He was like, we're gonna be friends.
Oh, that's exactly what I'm saying, because no one's ever said that, and anyone that, you know, is an outlier, I'm like, oh,
No one said that before. I'm such a fucking
No,
asshole.
guys, when I walk into a yoga class, the last thing people say is, fuck, I don't want to be here.
Did you ever read The Untethered Soul?
No, I've heard of it.
I think you would really like that book. Just like hearing the things you're saying, that book literally changed my life.
I love that.
1000% was a complete 180. I just had such a different perspective on literally everything. And they're just so, I literally would highlight almost like every other sentence because it was just, the things he was saying like was blowing my mind. And he would like make fun of like the human thought process. So it was like humbling because he'd be like, yeah, I know you think like that.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really good book though. You would really like it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What do you look for in friends now? Because you like didn't really have great friends.
No. And I kind of had a moment like when you said like all those people were taken out of your life and then you looked back and you were like, oh, like I think I had a moment like that as well. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize how you like. I had a moment like that as well where
really sprawled out.
I was kind of removed from a situation and it really sucked. And I really needed friends during that time and that just wasn't the case. And now I look back and I realize how much I grew and how different I am than those people. And I wish everyone the best. Like, I'm not like angry or anything, but it's just funny how people are actually taken out of your life for a reason, and for certain reasons. And sometimes someone's just in your life to fulfill a purpose and to teach a lesson. And, you know, you kind of go through this thing. But me, I always say I value character in the sense of, I pay attention to who's there for my wins, but I also pay attention to who's there for my falls. Because, for example, like I lost my father to COVID. Anybody who was there for me during that time, I will never not be in contact with for the rest of my life. Those people are my people. And I know at the end of the day, nobody's a perfect human. We all have flaws. We all have imperfections. But at the end of the day, I know if I ever needed those people, they would be there for me. And that's how I value friendships and people in my life is who's going to be there for you when you fall. Because that's, one, not easy to show up for somebody. And two, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's a lot to experience firsthand, but secondhand to show up inauthentically authentically for somebody going through something like that shows a great deal of character, and I think that's how I...
And it doesn't take a lot of effort.
It doesn't take a lot of effort?
It doesn't to like check, you know, like to check in with you or like just say something simple that could cheer you up, you know?
Absolutely. And I appreciate you saying that because I feel like a lot of people, there's a stigma around it. It's like, oh God, like, you know, someone's going through that. Like that's a lot or whatever. Yeah. Like, and it's like, it's not, I love the quote that says, it's not your fault you're fucked up. It's your fault if you stay that way. Mm-hmm. I love that quote because yeah, shit's going to happen in life, but how are you going to deal with it? And that's what really matters is how are you going to get back up and go for it? So I value friends in the sense of who's there when you fall. I think that is just a tell-all. And unfortunately, I found that out at a very young age. So it was like a blessing and a curse, I guess. But I'm very specific with who I let in my inner circle.
Having the awareness now is all but a blessing, you know?
Yes.
And that's, you know, it just made me think that you guys are saying, oh, I'm so young, I'm doing all these things. I have these thoughts and these philosophies, but like, that's kind of why I want to do these podcasts and I want to start my own and I want to grow my business is because for kids my age that don't have those, I want to fucking share that shit. And
right.
I feel like it'll resonate, you know?
Awesome. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think you'll probably keep a very open, safe space for a lot of people who maybe don't have that in their inner circle, you know?
I think men in general don't have that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like that's a big thing now, like men's mental health. Well, all, in my opinion, all people's mental health.
Right.
Mental health is so important and more than physical health. And going back to stereotypes, people have looked at me like, oh, he's a fitness influencer or whatever. But I was into mental health and nutrition way before working out. So like I prioritize those things more. And physical health simply just, you know, plays a role in those bigger pictures.
Yeah. Did you ever have any people in your life kind of give you a hard time for not for going for something like that, but being like, oh, like, you know, mental health yoga instructor. Like, did you ever, like, there's a big stigma around men and mental health. Like, did anyone ever give you a hard time about that? Or have you had supportive people?
Well, when you say it specifically like that, no. I've been given hard times about, like, my path, like running a business, for example. But, like, if someone gave me a hard time about being into mental health and wanting to help people, then, like,
why would you want to be around them?
That's just blocked out by now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just crazy.
Right.
But, you know, for example, like my dad, he grew up with the belief that you need to go to college and get a degree and then get a job that provides you benefits. And that was his belief that he imposed on me. So I grew up with that for a period of time, and it was not for me. And I don't blame him for that. But like, it just shows like even the people closest to you that want what's best for you, like he couldn't understand me starting my own business. He just didn't understand it. And it was hard for him, and it was hard for us to talk about it. But, it just took time, of course, but like I had to kind of do it myself. And obviously I had my mom because she runs her own business. So I had kind of the best of both worlds essentially. Yeah. But it's just funny. Like, you got to think, like, even your parents, like, you love them, of course, but they don't know what's best for you technically. At least not once you reach 20.
They want what's best for you. They don't necessarily know what's best for you.
Right.
Okay, so moving forward, are you looking, what's like your goal in life? Like, where are you trying to go?
I made a brand my brand name is called New Generation Wellness. By the way, I don't think I mentioned that. And right now it's primarily one-on-one personal training. And then obviously I have my whole yoga realm that I teach. And that's separate from the business essentially. But I created a brand about wellness. I didn't create a personal training business. Right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I don't plan on one-on-one training the rest of my life. Right. I definitely love it. Like, I do enjoy it, and I love helping people on a very personal level. But at the end of the day, like, I need bigger. I need a larger scale, and I don't know what it's going to look like yet. I mean, I'm getting into some online training, but I'm honestly not a fan of it because I care too much about your form, and I can't fucking see what you're doing.
Right.
So I'm still asking myself that question, like, where I want to go large scale, but I know it's a large scale thing for sure.
Yeah.
So you're on the right path.
So I know, yes. So I live by choose your path, stick with it, and work fucking hard. And how could you fail if you do those things?
Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes.
Did you take a yoga class and you were like, oh shit, I think I want to teach this? Like, how did that happen?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. So I was working as a trainer at the commercial gym for 2 years. And throughout that time, there was yoga classes and I could take them for free because I worked there. So I took one because I was, like I said before, I was into movement in general. Like, it didn't need to be this, didn't need to be that. Obviously, I went through phases where I enjoyed certain things more.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I'll try yoga, sure. And I took a few classes, and she did the whole essential oils on me the first time, and I was like, wow, that was fucking cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, I felt great. I knew it was beneficial, but I never was like, oh, I want to teach. Never said that. And then I took like 5 classes probably ever, and I would always do it like after I worked out. I'd be like exhausted. I just enjoyed it. And then, so when I was working at that physical therapy office, the head therapist was a yoga instructor, and she would host classes in the office like once a week for the patients. And one day I walked in, she knew I was a trainer. We talked a lot. We were close. And she was like, Tyler, she was just looking at me weird. And I was like, what? And she was like, I feel like you'd be really good at yoga, like teaching it. And I was like, just the way she said it and everything, it just hit me. And I was like, I'm going to fucking do that.
Fuck yeah.
Deadass. So literally that night I was so motivated because the way she was like, she just made me feel really good about
confident.
it.
Yeah.
And so I looked up like yoga training near me, and 5 minutes from my house was the Moth or the movement. It's above the Moth.
Yeah.
I just emailed that lady and I was like, your website's super cool. I live close by. I want to learn. I want to be a yoga teacher. What do I do? And she answered and was like, actually, we are hosting a training in 2 months from now.
Amazing.
And like the timing was just perfect. I was like, wow, sign me up.
That's awesome.
And then
what's your favorite part about teaching?
Teaching's very mentally exhausting. I'll be honest. Like, I have to be ready. Like, I can't go out drinking the night before.
Really?
And that's just me. Like, I probably could, but I won't do my job properly. Like, I won't be able to hold your energy if mine's all out of whack.
Because I know you do one before our class.
Yeah, so I do 2 that day.
Yeah.
My favorite part's the end. I love being in that flow state, though. Like, I'll be honest, when I'm teaching, sometimes, obviously I need to check in with you guys, make sure you guys look good, feel good, all that. But sometimes I just zone out and I'm just talking. And my favorite part is when I get into that flow of saying everything properly.
Like
and it just makes me feel really good. Like when you finish a podcast, you kind of feel good because you just like, I don't know, like
completed something.
Yeah.
Like when you have a deep conversation with someone, you let it all out.
Right.
So like I kind of get that feeling from a yoga class when I hit all the points I wanted to hit and I'm like, damn, I did a good job. Like sometimes I teach a class and I'm like, fuck, that kind of sucked. And none of you guys noticed that. Yeah. And everyone's always like, oh, it was great. But like personally, I'll be like, oh, that fucking sucked.
Really?
So like, and that's rare, but so I enjoy when I do it all and I just feel great and I can tell that you guys enjoyed it. Like that's my favorite part is the end when I can tell like you guys benefited. But like specifically,
what do you do
I don't really
with the essential oils?
I get nervous.
No.
Yeah.
I would never know. That's crazy.
It's like public speaking.
I know.
Like,
yes,
tell me in high school I'd be a public speaker. I'd be like,
right.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
But I feel like maybe to like make you feel better, no one's focusing on that. Like everyone's just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, how do you do that? Like that's what I'm focusing on.
That's why like the words I use, the adjectives I use are very important, and that's why I enjoy like expanding my vocabulary, reading books, because I can. What I say in the class is so important, and if I like stutter and shit, you're gonna be like. You're really gonna be like, what the fuck am I doing? So like,
I guess I never noticed it like that.
My favorite part is fucking saying everything properly. Want to know my favorite pose?
Yeah,
handstand.
That's not a pose.
Yes, it is.
No way is that a pose.
100%.
A handstand's a pose? How's that relaxing?
Yoga is not supposed to be relaxing.
Well, that's another.
There's specific types of yoga, but yeah.
A handstand. See, that's how different we are. Mine's the child pose, and his is the most difficult pose.
This is like the one where I have just one hand on the ground. I'm upside down.
Potentially could break my neck. That makes sense.
Do you know how to do a handstand?
Hey.
No.
Let's have you do a handstand after this.
Look like I can do a handstand?
Yeah, we'll do it against the wall. So you
know. No way.
Joe's calling. Should I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Joe. You're on the podcast.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, say hi.
Hi.
Can we get a yeehaw again?
Oh my God, with the yeehaw.
Joe, yeehaw. So what is a healthy relationship to you?
Deep conversations. Like that's essential to me.
I think that's just
I need to be able to talk about emotions, all that shit. And I was told that's rare, but like for me, I'm like, I don't know.
I think it's rare for someone your age. Seriously. Like I think men in general always are stigmatized with mental health, let alone a young guy. Like most 24-year-olds that I know, they don't have it fucking figured out.
You know what it is though? I think a lot of, and I'm not trying to stereotype or go into gender, but I think majority, I will say, is a lot of women feel the need to have deep conversations, talk about emotions, and we're a little more with that. And I feel like we said like the stigma for men is, I never cry, like, I'm strong, and that's kind of like the thing, and we're weaving that out slowly. So the fact that that's coming from you on a male end is great, because you'll make a woman partner feel very safe in that, because I think a lot of women look for things like that. No, but that's really important.
Safety's important.
Yeah, I say that all the time.
Oh, and you have to work out. Like, I don't mean like you don't have to be like crazy into it, but like obviously physically doing what active. I do, I need someone
have an
who
active lifestyle,
has some form of fitness that they enjoy.
Yeah,
I don't care what it is, but
for sure,
you just need to enjoy health a little bit.
Yeah,
you need to be obsessed with me. You need to like cake, and you need to be rich. I don't know. Those are my 3
Wow,
I love that, because that's all a guy wants too, is a girl that's just obsessed with him.
Yeah,
that's literally.
I think that's
all they
is that true?
Yes, 100%. I mean, speaking from my own,
I think that's anyone. Like, who doesn't want to be in a relationship and feel like they're
I could name.
Okay, it's fair. But you get what I'm saying? Like, you want that, right?
Yeah, everybody want. I say this literally all the time, and I feel like a broken record. Everybody wants to feel wanted. Everybody wants to feel desired.
Yeah,
and I feel like when you lack that in a relationship, it will fall very fast.
And that's what happens.
You have to show love to your partner. Like that, and you would think that would just be a necessity. Like, I know.
Well,
I don't know.
That's what you were talking about earlier. Like the beginning of the relationship's all about that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose that, then there's no relationship. So you're totally right that loviness it's it is what a relationship is, in my opinion. So like that needs to happen.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
A perception of like your own relationship versus like what you put out there too. For instance, like if you're my best friend and someone's asking you about me, you better be fucking beaming when you're talking about me. You better be like, oh, that's my best friend.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Same with the relationship. Like, have you ever met a guy or a girl and they're like, yeah, my fucking girlfriend, my fucking boyfriend.
A lot.
And it's like, that's so sad.
It is sad.
That's so sad. And honestly, I know a few people like that, and I'm just like, it's not gonna work.
Or
Yeah.
people who
Not
like
gonna work.
brag about cheating on their significant other.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that is insane.
You're showing like, I mean, if you're gonna treat your significant other like that, how are you treating your friends? Like,
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know.
And vice versa. If you treat your friends like shit, you're gonna treat your significant other like shit.
And it really comes down to being able to be your 100% authentic self. Like you're
Right.
saying, that that's how you are. And you need to be like that, because in relationships, especially in the beginning, it's so easy to like hide a little bit of yourself,
I
because
think
you're
it's
like,
also
oh, they might not like this
subconscious.
part.
You're like when you meet someone and like you want to romantically get involved with someone, there's gonna be like guards up.
Yeah.
So part of that
And
is
that's
like,
normal. But I've been in full relationships where I like hid a little bit of part of myself, you know what I'm saying? And then it'll come out eventually. Not that it's a bad part, but it's just like for that relationship, it didn't fit.
right.
And like, you know, you're not going to be with them forever if you never let that part into it.
for sure.
Yeah, that needs to be reciprocated on both ends. Just because like you receive love one way, you need to be able to give love that way.
Absolutely.
And I think that is really hard to do. Okay, guys, I think we got pretty deep.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Tyler.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We love a good deep podcast.
But we appreciate you coming forward very vulnerably, because that takes courage to do, regardless if you like it or not. It takes courage to show up authentically. Why do I keep saying that?
I don't know.
We appreciate you coming forward and being honest and sharing.
Well, I know there's other guys out there my age or younger that feel the same way. So.
Yeah. Do you want to repeat what your podcast is called?
Yes, it is the New Life podcast with myself and Kenny's Meals.
So we will
already
post
be out.
their podcast link here.
Yeah.
And
word.
Our food place of the day, Crave.
Yes.
They were really, really, really good.
they
and
were
so
so
sweet.
amazing. Okay, guys, thanks for joining and see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.